Hey guys, it's Alec from Hatch Duo, and today we have a really special video for you. We got great reception on our last 1-hour challenge and are going to do another. And I'd like to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Vizcom. But if you want to just stay here, I'll tell you how it works. We randomly roll a product, user, and a constraint, and then I design it in 1 hour. After that hour, I build a prototype of that design and then show it off to the team here at Hatch Duo. All right, and without further ado, we're gonna spin the wheel. All right, here we go. I'm really hoping for a coffee maker or robot frisbee launcher. That was the other one I was about to say. Dude, I have so many ideas for this. I've seen so many engineering students make this, but then don't put the cool industrial design skin around it. So I'm really excited for this one. Now it's time to select our user. So let's spin the wheel. I think from this wheel, Tech Bro or Ninja would be really fun. Or Blind Person. Blind Person? Okay. I had an idea for this one, and I'm glad that I already have stuff in the chamber, so we're just gonna shoot and fire. I already have a really good idea for this, I hope. Finally, we're gonna roll for our constraint. I'm hoping for anything. I like all of these, honestly. Nature inspired. Perfect. This is a perfect storm of things that I was like, I think I have an idea for that. I have a great idea for this. Of course, we're gonna iterate. We're gonna get some different styles in here, but I think I have something that I'm happy to start off with. So here we go. All right, and without further ado, we're gonna start this challenge. I've got a 1-hour timer here on my iPad, and once I start this, we're gonna be off to the races. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's start off with some sketching. I think I have, like I said, an idea in my head and I want to get it on paper. Let's just look up frisbee launching robot, and let's have that on my computer when I'm over here to kind of look back at this as an example. Great, so all of these are extremely mechanical. No industrial designer has ever touched this. It's all robotics club stuff. Honestly, because there's no existing designs that I can really think of as good references, we're just gonna freeball it. We're just going straight at it with what was in my head. From what I understand, this doesn't have to be a very tall mechanism. This can be quite shallow. We can keep it, say if this is our ground plane, we can kind of keep it here. We have to make sure that it can angle and launch up, so maybe there's a pivoting point here. It's also, I'd say it's on wheels. So let's assume that there's wheels here, a pivoting point here, then a base, and then we have this part here, which would be able to take a frisbee. Let's think of some other designs. Maybe the way that it pivots isn't a hinge, but it's oh, maybe it's a bigger one in the back. And then nature inspired. So what's nature-y feels like trees. I'm thinking trees. So maybe this can feel very grounded and rooted. Cross-section view, we'd have a frisbee here and then a wheel that would shoot it. And then this is a motor. Maybe it's got headlights. It's for a blind person. So I like the idea of the big wheel. And then maybe the slot around here is actually going to be a bright color so that we can see where the frisbee is coming from. I know it says for a blind person, but you have to remember that when you categorize blind people, it's an umbrella, and it's not people that have completely lost all vision. Blind also means impaired vision, severely impaired, legally blind. There's people that still have vision but are considered blind. So this one's actually kind of a winning form for me for some reason. Maybe this entire top portion is green. That could be cool. And then we have our wheels a little bit green or something. Okay, yeah, this is pretty technical, and it looks like a mouse sniffing for cheese. Just so that you guys know, looks like we have 37 minutes and 35 seconds. So we've used a lot of this sketching, but I think it's really important that we have a super cool form and then throw it into Vizcom, which is what we're gonna do right now. So let me take a picture of this and we'll bring it into Vizcom. I've uploaded the image to my laptop, and I'm gonna just start off in Vizcom Workbench, uploading my photo. Vizcom tries to adopt all of the same kind of hotkeys and functions as Photoshop. So it's really easy for a designer to get in and know how to use the tool. I'm gonna go back to Workbench, and then we'll create a modify block off the side of this, and I'm just gonna tell it to clean up the sketch and isolate the sketches. We're gonna make sure that we're bringing in something that we're really intentional with, and then cleaning it up, and then using that as a seed to build more refined renders. So we'll just say, please clean up this sketch page and remove the background so it's just all white. We're gonna shoot out 2 of those and then we'll make it horizontal. So we're gonna do landscape. Sometimes I find it useful to do vertical stuff. So when you're in here, you can adjust aspect ratio by portrait, landscape, or square. Portraits, sometimes I find myself using a variety of these, but I'm typically using 16:9. Pretty big fan of these 2. So we're just gonna use modify and say, please make these
to let's look high quality, mildly nature-inspired frisbee launching robots. Make them premium and look photorealistic like a lemon render.
Yeah, okay. Not sure that I would want to use any of these. Looking back at my original sketch, I don't know if I like the proportions of a lot of these. Vizcom tends to adjust proportions in both like wanted and like random ways that can be pretty beneficial, but you have to be very deliberate about what you're asking. So, okay, see, speak of being deliberate, this is, I'd say, a little bit too far on the side of nature-inspired. Since this feels a little bit too nature-y, I'm actually gonna change what these axes say. So another cool thing about variation tool is that I can say, make this nature-inspired, which is very close to organic, I'd say. And then maybe instead of organic, I want it to feel like athletic. You know, I do like the haunch on the back of this one here. So I'm gonna show you something. I can hit the 3 dots here and I can say copy raw image, and then I can take the one that I like so far. So I think this one's all right. And I can open this up. Also time check. Okay, we got 28 minutes. Blew by. All right, well, I'll show this to you guys. Hopefully you can see that. I've taken the form and I've cleaned it up and I've blocked out the really important sections. And I'm going to retake a photo of this. And now that I'm logged into Vizcom, I'm gonna send this photo to myself. And I know this looks like a lawn robot right now or something. That's a nature-inspired aspect of it. We're gonna pull up this image that I sent myself and I'll say, please render out this frisbee launching robot. Lemonouche style moody render. These are some keywords that I like to use to key it into looking like a really premium website quality industrial design render. Vizcom is used for a lot of other things. For example, let's just do this for fun. If I take my image, I can drag over and I can variate and I can go to something like not form, but expression. So when I'm in here, expression, this is what I'm looking for. I can make it feel sad, surprised, embarrassed. I don't know what the expression of frisbee is, but let's see if it has an idea for that. Okay, again, I need to stop typing in nature-inspired. This modern robotics feeling. Actually, let's generate a ton of these. I know it keeps popping up at the bottom that I'm low on credits. I've got 9%, but that is okay because this is a 1-hour challenge and we need to get the best quality right now. So that's why we're using Pro. In Pro, we get much higher image adherence to the prompt. We can use standard if we would like to, but for now, we're just using Pro and we're really getting the best of it. Okay. This is something. We can work with these. Now, maybe it feels like a beetle. Maybe that's like partially nature inspired. It's like the beetle-esque feel. I'm kind of feeling this one right here a little bit, you know? How much time do we have left, Mr. Timer? We've got 10 minutes. It was exactly 10 minutes. We have a direction that feels promising. So we're just gonna go in here with Magic Eraser and we're gonna clean up some of this stuff. I'm getting rid of these extraneous features. Get rid of the yellow button on top. That just doesn't need to be there. Ooh, I just generated a lot of stuff here. I always forget when I'm in Studio that I generate 4. If you want to adjust that, you can go to Variate, and then right here you can hit 1 so that you're just generating 1 at a time. If I were to click Generate, it would generate just 1 instead of the 4. Okay. Ooh. Okay, a little too playful. And now that we have 7 minutes left and we have 5% left of our credits, looks like we're gonna be down to the wire here. So we're gonna create just a couple more. And I think this frisbee launching-esque part of it, like right now, I'm happy with what I have in the 1 hour essentially. We're gonna do some fine tuning after because that's how design works. You have to iterate and you have to refine. So right now, we're gonna get the core 90 to 95% locked in. And then after the fact, when we start doing some of the prototyping feel, we're gonna get real detailed with this. I do want it to get rid of that yellow piece on the top, so let's just have it do that. Okay, that's actually what I was looking for. That's really, really good. Let's magic eraser this section here. Yeah, there we go. So magic eraser, lovely tool. Makes that really quick. One other thing that I'm thinking about is that this feels a little bit too round and like lawn robot. I want it to feel techy and angular, and I want that green to be like this hyper green. I'm gonna just go back to Workbench, make the green like a high vis green, please. Also make the form more simple and a little angular. Okay, it's a little too angular. I actually really like this one, to be honest. I'm second thinking, I don't think it needs headlights, does it? This just looks like a tiny car now. Nah, it's totally just a tiny car. Guys, we gotta get rid of the headlights. Here, I'm gonna cut this. I'll say, get rid of the headlights and make it look like the front of a modern, simple, and techy robot. 2% left on our credits, guys. And we've got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. All right. Okay. That's not bad. It doesn't feel like a car anymore. Oh, nope, not that. I gotta get the high vis green. Actually, no, let's shoot this out and then think of more things to add to that prompt while it shoots it out. Okay, hopefully ooh, definitely got that hyper green. We're okay with the decals because we have 1 minute left. So we're gonna be okay with the decals. 1 minute, 16 seconds left. What else can I add to this that and then make the top all high vis green. Okay, I need a shot of it with that's gonna be hard to, no. Come on, 1% credit left, 40 seconds left. Come on, I need those last two to load. Okay, I need this to load and then also show that top section tilted up upon the 20 seconds upon the hinge. And I swear my prompts always get better in the last couple of, I've hit my monthly limit. I have 6 seconds left. These are just left to generate. Hopefully it creates something. There goes the timer. And we've got 2 things left. Hopefully high vis green, angled up, using the correct part of the form, shooting out a frisbee. That's not what I was hoping. Also not quite what I was hoping. Okay, well, this is what we came up with in 1 hour. It's not easy to design in 1 hour, but with Vizcom, I was able to create so many different generations based off this. It is now time to move into prototyping. There's a couple of things I want to tweak about this, and naturally design is a process, so we're gonna get to tweak those things. By doing the prototype, we're gonna learn a lot more. So let's get into that. All right, it's the next day, and I've thought about this design quite a bit. I said there's some stuff that I wanted to change, and I've asked Jason, our producer, if I can, and he's gonna give me about 10 minutes to adjust these things. So we're gonna hop back in Vizcom and make sure that the design that we churn out by the end of this is really up to snuff and looks good. Let's get into it. Okay, this is where we started off last time, and we're just gonna jump right into it and immediately start giving some prompts to clean this up to what I was really imagining. I think this needs to be more stout, so make this shorter and make the green graphic full bleed on that section, thin and not so angry, please. I think I like this kind of. It got the proportions a lot more correct. I mean, it added some stuff that I didn't intend, but I'm happier with this. Yeah, I like this quite a bit more. So let's take this and we're gonna use this next. After duplicating it, I'm gonna continue building. Another thing I wanted to address is that it doesn't look like a frisbee launching robot. I know it is supposed to do that, but it doesn't actually visually communicate that. So let's have some visuals that help communicate that better. In our modify block, we're gonna ask, can you please Okay, and then we're gonna generate a couple of these, and we're gonna go check at those. I like this. This looks pretty good. It did a really good job at understanding the prompt. However, I don't think that this really moody, like dark background is gonna fit our final product. So let's edit that and let's use one of these that we like. So let's grab one of these. We'll probably use this one, and then let's talk about how we want to, let's give it a really detailed description of what we want the background to look like. Let's kind of just do a one pass and like clean up this whole thing. So I've got a really big prompt that I want to throw in here. I have a couple of keywords that I'm going to use. I'll show you when I'm done writing. I've got a pretty big prompt right here. I start off by talking about the background being simple, a grass field. We want it to feel harmonious with the actual product and its category. And then I talk about what the render should look like. So I'm using keywords like crisp, using lighting, Lemonouche renders as an example, layer design studio. And then I'm also specifying stuff about surface materials, finish, lighting again. And then I also like to use percentages. Vizcom's really happy when you use percentages to help describe things. So I'm telling it to bring it to a 99% perfect render. So let's shoot some of these renders out and see what they look like. All right, these turned out really good. I'm always blown away by how well Vizcom can churn out something that looks extremely photorealistic. I'm starting to notice more things that I want to change because we're getting higher realism. And I think one of those main things is like the body being this kind of steel or like a metal paneling isn't exactly what I want to go with. But these shots are looking like, for example, this feels really small, but we're gonna take one of these and then we're gonna further refine it with some new keywords to make sure that we're getting the materials that we're looking for. So we're gonna continue with this render here. I decided I like this one, and we're just gonna use another modify block and tell it to adjust the steel portions to feel like they're like a satin white. So please. Please. Okay, great. This is exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, these all look fairly similar. I think actually, for example, like you can see the mold finish on this is a little bit more coarse than I was imagining. So something like this is perfect. So we're gonna grab this one. There's a couple of details that still aren't quite right. Okay, I'm starting to realize, and I had this thought overnight, that it doesn't feel like it's shooting in the right direction. The way that the actual form of this bot is proportioned, it feels like it wants to shoot out the other direction. And I think mechanically it would make more sense too. Not sure if Vizcom is gonna be able to do this, but let's take a shot in the dark and see if we can flip this around and have it shoot from the other side potentially. So, well, let's cook up a prompt here. Remove the frisbee slot from the front and please turn around the vehicle so it's not a vehicle. the bot so that we are looking at the. So I added on an extra sentence at the end there just to make sure that it's really getting the grasp of the idea that I'm going for here. It tends to help me. And if you haven't noticed already, I like to chunk out my prompts into different paragraphs or sections. This is mostly for me. So if I need to go back and see where something happened or what prompt is causing what visual result to happen, I can look back a lot more easily and see each chunk and break it down, and I digest it a lot more easily than if I just have a whole word soup in one block. This looks good. This is what I was imagining. I want to add in the frisbee slot on the back now. Actually, this one's great. This is keeping that touch of orange that appeared in one of the generations, which I happen to really like. And it has almost like a slot for the frisbee to launch out of. So let's take this and let's make another prompt out of this. I'm pretty pleased with this, and hopefully it can digest this short prompt into what I'm imagining in my head. And again, if I want to, I can go in here, and this might actually be helpful. We can do something like this where we can easily just go and we can add something like a slot, and then we can go back in here and we can get a gray that we can make sure that it's getting the idea of what the angle is and what's happening in there, right? So if we need to go to this, we can, but let's see what we got from the generations. Okay, these look really good. I like where this is going. Ooh, I think I like this guy. Look at this. Okay, wait, this taps into our nature inspiration really well. I don't know if you guys see this, but I'm totally seeing a frog face out of this right here. This is so great. This is super cute. Sometimes you get these happy little surprises from Vizcom, and this is one of them. I think I want to get rid of that rumpling in the back, and then I also want to make sure that it looks like it's actually shooting the frisbee at a correct angle. So let's send in some more prompts and see what we can get from this. So that the frisbee is being launched upwards at the same angle as the bot, parallel with it. Okay, let's check these out once they're done. Okay, this is good. we'll take this guy. Jason's giving me a time warning. I only have a couple of minutes left to really tie this up. So I think this still feels a little generic. It's starting to develop into like a toy, so I really want to lean into that. So make the tires a fun green color. Ooh, I like this one on the right. I think it did a good job at actually, it did another little edit for me that I happen to like. There is some weird stuff going on over here in like that mouth area. No. Jason's like giving me the hand. He's like three minutes. So we're just gonna take this guy. Gosh, what else would I do to make this better? It might be just really good as is. Let's just do a couple of fine details. Let's compose some really cool shots for this. So we need to know what the backside looks like. So let's see if we can take an image from before, put it in here, and then update it. Okay, I've found the image that I need. Let's paste it down here, and we'll plug it into our modify block that we have, and we'll say, please remove the slit on the front of at 2, so that makes it know that I'm talking about this specific image at the bottom. Okay, that's a whole lot of stuff for it to look at. Let's generate a couple of things. Out of all of that word soup, it was able to generate exactly what I was imagining. So let's take this, and then I have like 1 minute left. Let's decide. Okay, I have an idea. I want to take this original render that we really liked, and we're gonna modify this again. We're gonna create a really nice render. Okay, I think I wanna take this image here. We're gonna make a really nice, well-composed photo that shows both these together. So I'm getting time check again. I have like no time to do this. Please show me a really nice studio quality product photography shot. Let's also mention high surface detail and material detail. Okay, I can see that preview. Don't show the light panels and add no annotations, please. Okay, I think that's time. I'm getting the signal that it's time. So let's hope these last couple of ones turn out really cool. And I'm much more happy with what we have turned out here. We flipped around the design quite literally. I don't think it changed that much, but it did flip around. I really like these. I'm very pleased with how this has turned out, and I'm excited, extremely excited to get to actually sand down this model once we print it. And about printing it, let's show you how to do that in Vizcom. So I've decided that I really like this one down here. I like that it keeps the grass kind of in the context. Added some stuff, and this one did over here too, of like some green in the eye area, which I'm okay with. So let's take this guy, and we're gonna build it out. So to start building our 3D model, we're gonna isolate one of these images, and I've done the prompt just so that I can show you guys. I've basically told it, show me a blank view of this robot, and then isolate it, white background, all white with a ground shadow. So just very basic, easy for Vizcom to understand what it's looking at. And then what I'll do is I'll change from the prompt from being show me bottom view, I'll go top view, and then I'll generate that. I'll do right view, I'll do left view, top view, etc. Now that I have all of these generated, I can take the ones that are of the left, right, front, and back view, and then Vizcom is gonna basically take those and interpolate what a 3D version of this would look like based off of those images. So let's jump into Studio and show you that. All right, I've gathered the images that I need, and I've jumped into Studio. So now that I'm here, I'm going to take all the different views, which is a right, left, front, and back view. And if I go over to the right panel here, I can click Make 3D. And then while I'm in here, if I check this box that says Make 3D from multiple layers, it'll prompt me to get a front, left, right, and back view. And simply by clicking on the front, then if I hold Control, I can select the left, right, and then back view. And you can see they populate all here on the right. If I do it in the wrong order, I can simply drag these around and adjust accordingly. Sometimes I will generate something with the left and the right view swapped, just so that it has both, because sometimes it doesn't always interpolate it correctly. Now that we have these in here, we're gonna hit high detail, texture, high definition. We want everything to look premium because we're printing this out. And then in advanced options, we don't need anything in there. And from here, we'll generate. I'm gonna save myself some credits and just show you what I generated before. Looking at this other stuff, I think my first example, I had the left and the right view switched. And then the second example turned out really good. And then third example, really good. Fourth example, I think I'd switch some views again, so you can see sometimes it has a little bit of difficulty, but trial and error is always the way. Let's just show you guys what this 3D looks like and how high quality this is. Look at that. It's exactly the left, front, right, back view all imagined, and I can spin this around. I can look at it in a clay view. I can look at it in a colored view. I can rotate it in here. I can do all sorts of stuff, and I can change the angle. So if I want a really dramatic view of it, I can look at it in a 25mm lens, get a low shot of it or something. And now, this isn't just for generating 3D and exporting to print. You can take this 3D, and if I wanted to, for example, I can make it larger, and I can get different angles of this that I could then go back to modify, and I could use this as a baseline to modify and create more stuff. But I have some really cool stuff already, and I now have a 3D model that I'm ready to put on the printer. So let's do that. So we've just got this print off the printer. Oh, that's not true. I've already spray painted it, but it did come off this printer here. We used this white filament right here, and you can see on the bottom still, if you want to get up close to this guy, you can see the white filament, you can see some spray filler primer, which is this stuff right here. I always get the 2-in-1, the sandable stuff. And then that red stuff right there is some Bondo filler putty, which I'll show you how we make a little Vizcom 3D model into something really cool. So let's go to the shop. Here we are in the shop, and I've got some spray paint laid out for the later versions of this when we actually put the paint on. So we've got 2 different greens for the tire and then the body. And then somewhere back there we have some orange spray paint back there. But what I'm basically doing in here is I'm taking this model, I've got a box that I keep going outside, and I spray paint it in this box so that I'm not getting spray paint everywhere. We'll take it, spray paint it, get a nice coat on here, and then little cracks like this guy right here. So you can see I've got a divot here, and then in the front, like we've got a divot here, and on the wheel somewhere, we've got a bunch of gaps that we need to fill. This doesn't fill big gaps, but this stuff does right here. So we're gonna use this spot glazing putty, and I've already told you that I've used some of this. We're gonna go over it, we're gonna keep doing some passes, and we're gonna make sure that this is looking really nice. I think I've seen people use gloves for this. I don't know if it doesn't matter. So I just take this stuff here basically, and we'll take it and we'll smear it across the top and fill in that gap that we saw before. And you know, thanks Jason for the great lighting here. It's actually helping me find where all these nooks and crannies are. You can see on the front here, I don't know if you're gonna pick that up, but a bunch of layer lines still. So basically we'll just take what's on my finger and we'll smear it across those layer lines. And this stuff takes about 15 to 10 minutes to dry, I think. So make sure that you leave it for that time. Otherwise it gets like really gummy and it comes off in like chunks. So you're gonna wanna be patient with this stuff, and also recommend respirator. So all that in mind, we're gonna get some more of this stuff done, and we'll just show you a time-lapse montage of how it goes. All right, we've finished up the prototype. It's in this bag right here, and we're here at Vizcom. We have a special guest that's gonna meet us here. Let's see. Hopefully they pick up and they're here. They should be.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Jared.
Great to meet you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Jared. I'm the community manager here at Vizcom. So anything events related, I have support here, and really excited to show you guys the makerspace. I heard you brought something?
I did.
Ooh,
Right here.
That's exciting. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited that you get to see it because it took quite a while.
Awesome. Well, let's head in and check it out.
Awesome. All right, here we are. We've brought the model inside. It's under this cover. Jared has no idea what's under here, so he's gonna go ahead and pull the cover off.
Oh, super cool.
So let me tell you how we got here. We did a 1 hour challenge, essentially. We went and we decided a product category, a user, and a constraint. And I want to see if you can guess what those are. It's not gonna be easy.
Okay, well, it's some vehicle of sorts. So I'm seeing some greenery. So like maybe like plants related.
Okay.
So I'm seeing vehicle, like plant theme. And then it's a person that's associated with this, or like a type of person?
Yeah, so some sort of user, which
Like golfer, maybe?
I'll give you the user because it's really hard. Golfer's a good guess based off the colors. It's for a blind person.
Oh, okay.
And so my thinking behind that was, well, blind is an umbrella, right? So there's people with low vision that are also blind. So the bright colors are partially from the user, and you did guess it, nature inspired. So the plant theming, right on.
Awesome.
And then the product, actually what it is not something that is on market, I'd say.
Okay.
So just take a shot in the dark. Speaking of shots, actually, something shoots out of here. That's your hint.
Okay, so for a blind person, so not golf related, thinking like maybe like the shotgun, like shooter, or the clay pigeons. This is the clay pigeon.
Same form factor.
Oh, is it disc golf?
Yes, it's frisbee launching robot.
Oh, awesome.
I'm curious, how would you approach this given the constraints in the product?
Oh man, well definitely I think start with some type of inspiration, looking at how those three things connect, because I think they're just so widespread. And then of course, starting with a sketch. The sketch is just a great way to take what you're envisioning in your head and then bringing it down onto paper and into the real world. I think Modify is a great tool to use. It's great at efficiently communicating your idea and accelerating what your initial pencil sketch or pen sketch was into something that's a little bit more developed in terms of form and relations. I'm very curious with this like form. Did it evolve from something that was a little bit larger, or like, I'm not sure this is the final scale of it.
The scale would definitely be different.
Yeah, walk me through a little bit of the form development that you went through.
So the initial reason for having wheels, for one, is that I've seen like robotics club and robotics competition stuff where you have a frisbee launching robot or a ball launching robot. And what it does is it drives over what it's shooting out, and it has something on the bottom that collects the projectile.
Yeah.
It feeds it into the system and then shoots it out. So having something that would drive and move around on its own was key. I think the actual car form factor is something that can be workshopped, right? It feels a little bit too like Rocket League or something, right?
Yeah.
It feels very cartoony, video game-esque, which I think is fine. Hatch Duo loves doing a lot of like very fun, playful stuff, and this is right in line with that. The reason for the like larger and smaller wheel was the initial nature inspiration was like a big cat, like ready to pounce.
Okay.
And so you have these haunches on the back that feel like legs in a pouncing position, ready to kind of like lunge. So that's the reason we have the big wheel, small wheel.
Okay, amazing. And you made it real, you made a prototype, and it's a scale model. Can you walk me through how you went about making this?
The first thing that I did was just see if my initial render would, using the Make 3D tool, would turn into something. This is a very intricate form that has, Vizcom's great with vehicles, but this is a little bit different, right? So I tried with just my render. It didn't turn out perfect. So I went and I did the orthos. I did the right, left, front, back, and it turned out amazing. It was perfect. So just got a high quality version of that.
Yeah, you even got the fins and the little like air tank.
And it turned out great. It is straight from Vizcom export STL onto a bamboo printer.
Wow.
And I initially was going to do one that was about this big. It
was
overnight in the filament jam. Not a Vizcom problem, but a 3D printing problem.
Yeah.
So it would have been way bigger. I think this does justice, though. I think this is really awesome to show off. Just one visualization through Make 3D can
just having a physical prototype in person is, you can always point at something and talk about it rather than just being like a 2D surface. So what's the next step? Where are we looking at?
Yeah, I wanted to explore animation as a tool.
Yeah.
I think this is a great opportunity for being able to animate something moving, driving, maybe even launching the frisbee.
Yeah.
You guys have an amazing space here that I think we can find something and maybe create a cool little scene for that.
Yeah, I'd love to see it driving around on some like turf, or maybe like the disc shooting out from it. That would be awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think our start and end frame tool would be great for this, to have some animation results.
Okay, cool. Let's find a spot that we can maybe take some shots of this and animate it?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll see you in a sec. I feel like I want this to be on grass or something because we have that context shot of it on grass and I want to kind of replicate that. Ooh, this is like a Hot Wheels racetrack, not a Hot Wheel, but fits perfectly. But I don't think that's right for it. Oh my gosh. I see the vision right here. I can see it like driving on grass and then the blue is water skirting around and it launches a Frisbee over here. This is like a great place spot right here. So I'm gonna take a photo of this. Then I think we can use that photo and throw it into Vizcom again, and then we can basically prompt it to turn this into grass and this into water. So let's see. Maybe get a couple of shots of it. And then for animation, we get to do a start, end, and end frame. So I can move this over like here, and then I can do a shot like this, or a shot like this, and maybe even further out. I think this is gonna turn out really cool. Let's go do that. Let's show you the process. Ready to check this out?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
That is so sick.
Wow. Dude, the animation just takes it to another level.
Dude, after working on this model for so long, seeing it move around like that is,
Yeah.
that is awesome. And it's so creative using the rug over there with the green and the blue being the grass and the water. That's awesome. I want to watch that again.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Wow. Man, that's good.
Yeah.
That is so good. And you can do it so quick too.
Yeah, it's
Just like
super
that.
easy. Just start an end frame and boom. Great for exploring and just seeing the model or just the product in general, just brought into life with some motion. Cool stuff,
Awesome.
man.
Well, that's it. Jared, thank you so much for having us. The space is amazing and a lovely design to make out of your guys' product. And if you have any last thoughts or want to plug Vizcom?
Yeah, no, I love the design you guys came up with, especially how you use the nature-inspired theme here. If you guys yourselves are interested in using Vizcom, head over to vizcom.com to check out the free version where you can use the modified tool, some of the animation tools, and even make your stuff real with the Make 3D tool. So feel free to go check it out.
I absolutely loved working on this. And if you guys want to see more of this, go ahead and subscribe down below, like, comment, and we want to thank Vizcom again so much for sponsoring this video. It's been a pleasure. This has been one of my favorite projects to work on, and getting to make this as someone who's a fan of vehicles and anything with wheels, this is an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
See you guys next time.